Hey everyone, and welcome to This Explainer. Okay, today we are unpacking a really fascinating and honestly a deeply chilling local legend. It's one of those stories that perfectly captures how our minds process fear and the unknown. Picture this: a remote village edge, completely cloaked in darkness, and this massive, ancient tree that the locals absolutely refuse to go anywhere near. We're talking about the infamous mystery of the tamarind tree. I want you to imagine standing completely alone in the pitch black. The air around you is deathly still. Then, out of nowhere, a cold breeze violently rattles the leaves above you. And from those tangled, dark branches overhead, this agonizingly sad voice echoes through the night. Ooh, ooh, help me. I mean, your blood would run completely cold, right? This isn't just some campfire tale. This is the exact terrifying moment a young boy experienced while standing out there alone in the dead of night. So let me ask you directly, do you believe in ghosts? Because, even if you consider yourself a hardcore rationalist, stories like this have a really peculiar way of getting right under your skin. Today, we're going to join a brave 14-year-old boy named Rahul to uncover the actual truth behind this terrifying myth. We'll be breaking down the timeline, looking at the environmental evidence, and diving into the psychology of this haunting, all without spoiling the incredible twists just yet. Let's dive in. Section 1. Fear of the Tamarind Tree. So, to set the scene, right at the very edge of this village stood a massive, incredibly old tamarind tree with these sprawling, twisted branches. According to a deep-rooted local myth, a ghost resided right there in its canopy. And the collective fear was so intense and so widespread that the area became an absolute no-go zone. Literally, once the sun went down and dusk settled over those dirt roads, not a single person would dare walk past that route. It was completely abandoned to the shadows. Section 2. Rahul's Brave Challenge. Okay, so every great ghost story needs a skeptic to push the boundaries, right? And ours comes in the form of a young, determined teenager. Meet Rahul. He's 14 years old, living right there in the village. But unlike all the terrified adults around him, Rahul is incredibly brave and completely skeptical of ghosts and the supernatural. He just refused to buy into the village panic. So one day, deciding he's heard enough of these baseless rumors, he confidently challenges his friends. He tells them he's going to walk right up to that tamarind tree tonight and prove once and for all that there is no ghost. So for this explainer, he's basically our proxy investigator. Section 3. That night near the tree. All right, so here's how it goes down. Step 1, night falls completely, and Rahul walks out alone, armed with nothing but a flashlight or a torch. Step 2, he enters that absolute suffocating silence of the village edge. A gentle wind starts up, rustling the tamarind leaves, and as he gets closer and closer to that massive trunk, his previously calm heartbeat starts quickening. Thump, thump, thump. And then, step 3, the terrifying moment. Suddenly, from high up in the pitch-black tree, he hears it. A sorrowful, crying voice. Oh, help me. Now, Rahul is internally panicking, obviously, but he holds his ground. He flashes his torch upward into the canopy, but he sees absolutely nothing. And then, a sudden gust of icy cold wind violently shakes the branches around him. He lowers his light and there it is, a distinct, white shadow standing right behind the trunk of the tree. For the very first time, our fearless skeptic completely freezes. His hands begin to tremble so violently that the flashlight beam is just shaking frantically in the dark. With this wavering voice, his bravery momentarily just vanishing in the face of the impossible, he stammers out, Who are you?" But the white shadow doesn't answer him. Instead, it slowly begins to move directly toward him. The shadow is approaching. Rahul is now utterly terrified, and he starts stepping backward, just trying to get away from the apparition. And in a highly relatable moment of clumsy panic, because, let's face it, we've all been there when we're scared out of our minds, his foot catches on a stone. He trips and crashes hard onto the dirt ground. The shadow just continues to creep closer. His courage is entirely gone at this point. Section 4. The Watchman and the Truth. Now, what's really interesting about this is what happens next. As Rahul lies on the ground bracing himself, the moving shadow suddenly gets caught in a nearby bush. He squints through the darkness and suddenly realizes this massive illusion. The myth told of a terrifying white ghost moving in the dark to get him, but the reality? It was literally just an old, discarded white bedsheet that had blown into the branches and was flopping wildly in the wind. Rahul lets out this massive, trembling sigh of relief. So the visual mystery was solved, right? The terrible ghost was literally just laundry. But the story was not over. While he's catching his breath and kind of laughing at himself, the auditory mystery sneaks right up on him. Clear as day, right behind his ears, the voice cries out again. "Help me." His heart absolutely stops. Slowly, terrified of what he might see this time, Rahul spins around in the dirt. But instead of a ghoul or some monster, he's met with a warm, smiling face. It's an old man with a long, flowing beard, just calmly holding a glowing red lantern in the dark. The man smiles gently at the terrified boy and tells him not to be afraid. He introduces himself as the Watchman. He's the elderly caretaker of the nearby garden, and he has been watching villagers fear this tree for years. He actually knows the true, entirely logical secret of the so-called haunted tamarind tree. So he takes Rahul by the arm and leads him around to the back of the massive trunk to show him the real source of the terror. And this brilliantly illustrates how myths are born. Hidden directly behind the tree, completely overgrown with weeds, was a deep, old, abandoned well. Whenever the nighttime wind blew just right, the air would rush over and into the mouth of the well. The specific acoustics of that airflow, it's actually a lot like blowing over the top of an empty glass bottle, created this bizarre, echoing frequency that sounded exactly like a human crying out. Wind and an old well. It's amazing how simple natural phenomena can birth generations of terrifying superstitions. Section 5. An unsolved mystery. The very next day, Rahul gathered the whole village together and proudly explained the truth about the well's acoustics and the tangled bedsheet. And over the following weeks, the fear entirely dissipated. People actually started walking past the tamarind tree at night again. Logic had completely triumphed over fear, finally freeing the community from their ghost story. But there's a strange anomaly here. Even today, a brand new rumor persists among the locals. So, the crucial question we're left with is, did science really debunk everything? Because even today, villagers whisper about something else entirely. What about the mysterious heavy footsteps that are only heard pacing under the tree on the pitch-black nights of the new moon? The wind explains the voice, for sure, and the bedsheet explains the shadow. But the footsteps? Whether that's just another trick of the environment, a lingering psychological fear, or a genuine mystery that remains truly unsolved, well, no one knows to this day. What do you think? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and stay curious.